Hello, true crime friends, and welcome to another horrifying and gripping episode of Dearest Mother's Darkest Secrets. I am your host, Teri True Crime, and today we are diving into a case that is as shocking as it is devastating. It is a story of betrayal, greed, and unimaginable cruelty. In our journey through the dark side of motherhood, we've encountered some truly twisted tales. Tonight's story is one that will leave you questioning the very nature of maternal love. This is the case of Robin Lee Rowe, a mother whose actions shattered the lives of those closest to her in the most horrific way possible. What could drive a mother to commit acts so cold, so calculated that they defy comprehension and reality? As we peel back the layers of this case, we'll uncover a tangled web of lies, financial desperation, and a chilling disregard for human life. Robin Rowe's story is a reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers come from within the family itself, a place where trust should be absolute, but is instead weaponized with devastating consequences. So grab your favorite glass of wine, settle in, and prepare yourself for a story that will take us into the deep darkness of the human soul. This is Robin Rowe, a name that will forever haunt the halls of true crime history and my brain. On February 10th, 1992, the tranquility of Boise, Idaho was shattered by a crime of unspeakable cruelty. A fire broke out in a family home in Ada County, resulting in the deaths of 34-year-old Randy Rowe, his 10-year-old stepson Joshua Cornelier, and his 8-year-old stepdaughter Tabitha Cornelier. What initially appeared to be a tragic accident was soon revealed to be a deliberate and calculated act of murder, orchestrated by the very person who should have been their protector, Robin Lee Rowe, the wife and mother of the victims. Robin Lee Rowe was born on September 12, 1957, and she was no stranger to tragedy. However, the tragedies in her life were not mere accidents. They were the results of cold, premeditated actions driven by her greed. On that fateful night of February 10th, 1992, Robin set fire to her family's home on Seneca Street in Boise, ensuring the deaths of her husband and her 2 children. And the fire was not a spur of the moment decision. It was a culmination of a meticulous plan designed to collect a substantial life insurance payout. Robin had taken out multiple life insurance policies on her family members, totaling $275,000. These policies had been acquired in the months leading up to the murders, with the most recent one purchased just weeks before the fire. Guys, I want to say money is not the most important thing in life. Yes, we need it to live. We need it to survive day to day. It is never more important than a human life, especially not your own damn children. Her motive was clear: financial gain at the expense of the lives of those she was supposed to love and to protect. The fire itself was set using a flammable substance which investigators later determined had been placed strategically to cause maximum devastation and ensure death. The circuit breaker for the home smoke detectors had been shut off, and the furnace fan was set to run continuously to ensure circulating the toxic smoke throughout the house. Randy, Joshua, and Tabitha were asleep in their upstairs bedrooms when the fire broke out. As the flames spread, they were overcome by carbon monoxide poisoning, which is a silent and deadly killer. I will say my biggest fear is dying in a fire, but I find a little bit of peace knowing that they died by carbon monoxide poisoning before they felt the flesh of their skin burning. It's not much peace, but it's a little bit of peace. In the immediate aftermath of the fire, Robin presented herself as a grieving wife and mother. She claimed to have been staying at a friend's house on the night of the fire due to ongoing abuse from her husband, Randy. However, her story quickly began to unravel under the scrutiny of the law investigators. Guys, I also want to say if you're the mother of the children and your husband, who is your children's stepfather, is abusing you, why in tarnation would you leave your children with him? I call BS on that. As a single mom who is married to an abusive husband, I can tell you my children did not stay in that house. They went with me. Now, suspicion fell on Robin immediately. Her behavior in the days following the fire raised even more suspicion, as did the discovery of the life insurance policies. Also, investigators uncovered a shocking pattern of suspicious deaths in Robin's past. Yes, guys, she had killed before. In 1976, her 15-month-old daughter had died in New Hampshire, reportedly from SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. Then in 1980, her 6-year-old son Keith died in a house fire in California. Both deaths, previously ruled as tragic accidents, were now seen in a new, sinister light. And I'm going to say, in my opinion, she killed them too. As the investigation into the Boise fire intensified, detectives learned that Robin had fabricated the story about Randy's abuse. Told you so. There were no police records, no hospital reports, and no witnesses or proof to corroborate her claims of physical violence. Plus, if he was abusing her, why would she leave her children there? Instead, it became apparent that Robin had been preparing for the murders for some time. She had moved all of her belongings out of the family home and into a storage unit. She didn't want her stuff to burn down. And she had started a new romantic relationship with the son of a friend, which was the friend she was staying with the night of the fire. 3 days after the fire, on February 13th, Robin was arrested and charged with grand theft for embezzling money from her employer, the YWCA. Guys, this woman cared about money over everything. However, the grand theft charges were just the beginning. Thank you, Jesus. As investigators gathered more evidence, they built a strong case for murder. On March 20th, 1992, Robin was formally indicted with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of aggravated arson. She was arrested on these charges, roughly 3 days later. The trial of Robin Lee Rowe began in late January 1993 and lasted until early March. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. They presented strong evidence that Robin had meticulously planned the murders to collect the life insurance money. The jury even heard about the suspicious deaths of her other children. the fraudulent life insurance policies, and the lies she told about Randy's abuse. Witnesses testified about Robin's behavior in the days leading up to and following the fire. Her friend, Joan McHugh, who had initially supported Robin's claims of abuse, recounted how Robin had woke her up in the middle of the night on February 10th, claiming she had a terrible feeling something was wrong at her house. You think something's wrong, you pick up the phone and call, right? She clairvoyant these days? Mm. They drove to the Seneca Street home together, and Robin, before they could even see the house, said there must have been a fire. When they arrived, Robin appeared to know more than she should have, even before being informed by the responders on the scene. She knew what had taken place. The prosecution also introduced taped phone conversations between Robin and Joan that were recorded after Robin's arrest. In these recordings, Robin's inconsistent statements and evasive answers further incriminated her. I say this all the time. People, when you go to jail, you do not talk on the phone unless you want to get in more trouble. But in this case, I'm once again glad she was stupid. When confronted with fabricated scenarios about her whereabouts on the night of the fire, Robin faltered and could not provide a clear alibi. Instead, she now claimed to have been talking with her psychiatrist outside the house, but she refused to provide a psychiatrist's name. I guess she couldn't pull one out of her hat. Robin's defense team tried to argue that the fire was an accident and that Robin was a victim of tragic coincidence. But yet, how did she know in the middle of the night when she was supposedly sleeping that the house was on fire? And defense team, they attempted to discredit the prosecution's narrative. But guys, the evidence was too damning. The jury found Robin guilty on all charges. On December 16th, 1993, Robin was sentenced to death by 4th District Judge Alan Schwartzman. In his sentencing, Judge Schwartzman did not mince words. He described the premeditated murders as the final betrayal of motherhood and a descent in the blackened heart of darkness. I can tell you that JT covers Robin Rowe on his Women on Death Row series. Following her conviction, Robin embarked on a long and complex appeals process, which has spanned over 2 decades. Her case has gone through multiple levels of the judicial system, with appeals filed at both the state and federal levels. But despite her efforts, the courts have consistently upheld her conviction and sentence. Yeah, lady. One of the most notable rulings came in January of 2008 when the Idaho Supreme Court dismissed an appeal in which Robin claimed that the state had wrongfully withheld information that could have been helpful to her case. The court found that the allegedly withheld evidence did not cast any doubt on the reliability of her conviction and sentence. And in August 2011, a federal judge also rejected Robin's appeal, dismissing her claim for habeas relief. However, the judge allowed her to pursue further appeals on specific issues such as whether her attorneys were ineffective and whether she had been forced to wait too long to be arraigned. Despite these ongoing legal battles, the chances of Robin overturning her death sentences, it's slim. That is how strong the evidence was. As the legal proceedings continued, more details about Robin's past emerged, painting a disturbing picture of a woman capable of unimaginable cruelty. Etta County Sheriff Gary Rainey, who was the lead investigator in the 1992 case, has publicly stated that he believes Robin was responsible for the deaths of her other two children in the 70s and 80s. While she has never been formally charged in those cases, the similarities between the incidents raise serious questions about Robin's involvement. I mean, in the case of the 15-month-old daughter who died in 1976 in New Hampshire, the cause of death was originally listed as SIDS. However, Rainey expressed doubt about this diagnosis, noting that children of that age do not typically die from SIDS. Normally, they can wake up. He believes that Robin smothered the child, possibly because she saw the baby as a burden. Similarly, the death of Robin's 6-year-old son Keith in 1980 now appears to have been another act of arson. The boy died in a fire at a cabin in California where he was staying with his mother, Robin. Forensic evidence suggested that the fire was not an accident. Keith's bedroom door was locked, and an electric heater had been pushed up against his bed blankets. How was this ever said to be an accident? I will not understand. Rainey believed that Robin locked her son in the room and started the fire because she collected a $28,000 life insurance policy after his death. Once again, money seems to be what she loves more than anything. For the families of Randy, Joshua, and Tabitha, the pain of their loss has been compounded by the lengthy appeals process, saying each new legal filing brings fresh anguish as they are forced to relive the trauma of the murders. Randy's older sister, Chris, has spoken publicly about the frustration of waiting for justice to be served. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. The appeals process for those on death row, it's there so that people are not falsely convicted. I get it, but it truly rips open the wounds of family members. Chris said, I don't think she deserves to be alive in an interview marking the 20th anniversary of the murders. She said she did get the death penalty, and it's just being dragged on and on and on at the expense of everyone else. They, the victims, didn't get 20 extra years. Why should she? I agree with you, Chris. Sheriff Rainey shares the sentiment, describing Robin as an extreme psychopath who deserves the death penalty. He has expressed frustration with the appeals process, which he sees as delaying the inevitable. However, he has also takes some solace in the fact that Robin is no longer able to harm anyone else and says every day up until that day, she's not able to manipulate other people. She's not able to get anything out of her web of lies. She is not going to kill anyone else. So she sits there 23 hours a day on death row and waits for her death. In April 2023, the governor signed into law a new bill legalizing the use of the firing squad for executions. I don't know what to think about that, but I'm going to say in this case, I think it's okay. Come at me if you want, but she deserves to suffer a little bit because the case of Robin Roe is a chilling reminder of the lengths individuals will go to for financial gain. She did not suffer from postpartum psychosis, mental issues. She showed premeditated nature of what she wanted to do. Combined with her past actions, paints a portrait of a deeply horrific individual. The families of the victims continue to grapple with the loss. And guys, the community says they remain haunted by this. And with that, we bring this episode to a close. The story of Robin Roe is one that's difficult to comprehend. I truly can't understand, and it's a chilling reminder that sometimes the most horrific betrayal comes from those we trust the most. And as we reflect on the devastating events we uncovered today, it's hard not to feel a deep sense of sadness and anger. The loss, the manipulation, the cold heartedness, it all serves as a stark warning about the darkness that can reside within a person, even a mother. I want to thank you all for joining me as we looked into this horrifying case. I know once again it wasn't easy, but I do truly believe it's important that we continue to shine a light on these dark stories, to remember the victims, and to seek justice in whatever form we can. Now, don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below letting us know your thoughts about this case. And if you've liked what you've seen, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. And then, if you want, become a member by clicking the join button, where you will get early access to all of our Dearest Mother's Darkest Secret episodes and much more content. And be sure to join me next time as we uncover another shocking tale where the lines between love and malice are blurred beyond recognition. Because remember, sometimes the greatest evil comes from those we least expect it. I'm Teri True Crime, and until next time, please stay safe, watch out for crime, and as always, enjoy your wine time. I'll see you next episode.